Hi everyone, welcome back. So I want to retrieve data from a MySQL database using where-in statements within Mendix. Using where-in statements are a powerful way to increase the performance. Instead of putting too much data within your application and do the processing all within the Mendix apps, you can now let the database do the heavy lifting for you, and that will result in far better performing microflows. So this app is retrieving all the countries in the world and its regions from an external MySQL database. And you can see it has one functionality to toggle through the regions, and it will filter out the countries that are in that region. So if we switch over to Mendix View Pro, here you can see I have the app with the page country dashboard, which shows how I have set this up. Currently, the app is only working with one region, so you can only select one region. Now I want to change this Mendix app so it will allow me to select multiple regions and then show all the countries that belong to one of these regions. Alright, first go to the domain model. Make sure you have a one-to-many relation between the view and the region. So now we are able to store multiple regions that we have selected, and we have got one error, and that's here, where at first we had one region and now we will retrieve a region list from this view object. Alright, so what do we do next? We want to loop over these regions and make one string to concatenate all the region codes after each other. I have created an action for that already, and I will plug it into here. Let's dive into that one. So this microflow retrieves a region list, checks if the regions are in the list, and then builds up a concatenated region code string. In the loop, we iterate over the regions, we check if a code is given, and then we add the code to the list. Depending on if it's the last item of the list, we will add a comma after the code. If it's the last item in the list, we don't do that. So we have a valid list that we can put into the SQL statement. Alright, so now we have here the concatenated regions list. Let's name it that way, concatenated regions. We should make sure that we change the action we use to retrieve information from the database. With the database connector module, you have multiple actions. Normally I will go for the execute parameterized query, but today we need to go to the execute query itself. You don't parameterize it, but you build up a SQL statement before with a string variable in this way. So you now can add this. So if the region list is empty, we select all countries, but if it's not, we select all countries where the regions code is in the concatenated list. So we name this SQL statement. Now we configure the execute query action. I have some constants that address where my database is and how to log into the database. We can select the SQL statement here, and now we have to give in a result object. So to handle this, you need to create one object of the type that you expect to retrieve from the database. In this case, we create a country object, It's fine if it's called new country, give it a name you like, and then you can select the new country here, and you see that we will get back a list of countries. I'll give it a name country list, and I think we already have a country list, so we need to delete that first. And now we can rename this one back. I am accustomed to adding custom error handling for database retrievals because it's always an interface between your application and something external. Something can change there and you need to be aware of that interface. So for now we will add a empty error handling. In production I would say I recommend adding a log, an error log, or even a critical log if something happens to the database. So now we handle the view object, we retrieve the regions, we build up a list, a string with all the region codes after each other with comma separation. We create the SQL statement in a string variable. We create a dummy country object so the query knows what type of object it will retrieve and return as a list. We have managed all, we have configured all the attributes here, and I think it's time to run this code. So let's check it out. So the app is reloaded. It took a while, but here we are. So if no region is selected, we have now 245 countries in a list. And let's verify if we select multiple regions. You see, it will add up the countries already. So here you see an Asian country of Afghanistan and an African country of Algeria. So this is working correctly. So now you know how to implement where-in statements within your Mendix apps. If your app is relying on an external database, I hope this will give you a great tool to optimize your apps further. Let's go make it!